going on, guys? Welcome back to Two Major Losers. I'm here today with...
I'm Susasi!
From Geeks by the Creek. That's me. Link in the description below. Here we are with the 10 best racing games, in our opinion.
So, smuggling puppies, what's going on?
Oh, not much. For those of you who don't know, I have a backpack that I carry all of my recording equipment in. It says smuggling puppies. I love it so much. Number 10! This is one of my favorite games, Snowboard Kids 2. This game is one of the strangest games on the planet. It was released in '99 for the 64, and this is the kind of stuff that one would expect from turn-of-the-century Nintendo. It is one of the stranger games that I've played. It's literally just about snowboarding kids.
Yeah, I saw it demoed in a store in Chinatown in New York City, and I actually picked up the import, and that was when I got my first Nintendo 64 adapter too, just so I could play that game. So
it's a really fun game.
The allure.
It's a really fun game, you know, whether you're snowboarding down the slopes of a mountain, through cemeteries, across the Milky Way, even being shrunken down and snowboarding through someone's bedroom. This game has a little bit of everything, including very confusing menus. What does any of this mean?
It's true.
And the first time why are you jumping? What is this? Is that a letter? Is that a Q? Is that a B? I don't know. You know, it's a very fun game. To this day, I don't think I know how to play it.
It was worth for the import too, but and the only reason I got it is I didn't think it had a snowball's chance of making it here. See what I did?
Hey, snowballs! This is gonna snowball and just get worse.
Yeah. So coming to number 9.
Yeah.
Number 9. Nobody use it as well.
Number 9
in a world. I'm sorry. So anyway, so that would be Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. And in particular on the Wii U, which was the definitive version. Now, if you read the reviews from the time, everybody thought it was a good racing game, but when it came to the Wii U version, it kind of elevated to great. Not only were there, exclusive Wii U pad features, but you could play the entire game on the Wii U pad by yourself while somebody else watched a football game or something. Because it's sports ball, whatever. But racing, but it also ran flawlessly, unlike the other versions which had hitching and frame rate issues and that sort of thing. So, hats off to Sega and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed, because it literally was on the Wii U.
I mean, I own a copy of it for the 3DS, and it's still one of my favorites. I really enjoy the heck out of it, too, so...
And it's funny, because the 3DS version was the absolute worst version of all of them, but it was still good.
Yeah,
so that kind of speaks volumes about the game.
It does. So, number 8. Number 8. I'm paying attention.
I told you I knew numbers.
Dang it. Lego Racers for the Nintendo 64. Also came out for a few other systems.
Nintendo 64, huh?
Yeah, that's what we owned it on.
So I never played it.
It's a really interesting game. It doesn't really have a storyline, at least not the one that's easy to follow. Of course, what Lego game does. It's just a really enjoyable game where you build your car, and it's very sentimental to me because it was one of the first 64 games that we purchased separately. Because we grew up with Tetris and Mario Kart, and that was it. It was one of the first games that we got separately. And it's one of the it's some of the craziest cars on the weirdest tracks because you can make the cars yourself and just, the physics aren't the greatest and the fan base is almost non-existent, but it has one of the most truly unique pickup item systems I've ever seen. So you pick up a certain type of item and then you pick up a white pickup and it makes that pickup better, which I've never seen in another game. But it's really interesting.
Number 7. Number 7. So I have kind of a little bit of a Wii U chip on my shoulder because people trash the system so much. And they trash it for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, Nintendo messed up marketing and all that kind of good stuff. They misrepresented the product in their marketing. They did a bad a job of evangelizing the product and make people understand what it was. That's fine. But quit bagging on the games, because I'll tell you what, this next one, Need for Speed Most Wanted U, was the definitive version of that game too, bar none. We're talking about a console game, for a console that everybody said was last gen and everything. That was the only iteration of the game, the only console version of the game that shared the same high-definition PC textures with the PC version of the game. The only version, right? And it also had, once again, you can play on the gamepad, that's fantastic. But it also had some other exclusive features, including co-op mode, where your navigator could throw off the cops and pick routes for you, check the the fastest route, get places, can even change from night to day while you're driving. So, definitive version of the game, hands down. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Do check it out. It's cheap. If you have a Wii U, pick it up. I've seen it for under $20.
I will say this real quick. I personally don't like the newer Need for Speed games. Actually, I have a specific problem with Most Wanted because they took the name off of one of my favorite games, which is later in this list. But the Wii U version actually sounds okay to me. So
well, there's another. If you've ever played Burnout Paradise,
yeah,
the same team that made Burnout Paradise made this game, built it from the ground up. Console-specific engine for the Wii. So it's an open world game. It shares a lot of similarities in that respect with Burnout Paradise, while at the same time keeping that Need for Speed Most Wanted vibe. So anyway,
Burnout Paradise is also on this list.
Yes.
Fun fact. So coming up at number 6 is one of the craziest games I've ever played. One of my favorite games I've ever played. Another game that I own for the Nintendo 64. Which is Hydro Thunder, and you've probably seen this game. It got really, really popular. The cabinet version got really, really popular for a while when they created the new, the actual boat stick thing. So it was pretty popular.
Throttle.
Yeah, that thing.
Also, I know numbers.
Thanks.
No problem.
But it's just got crazy tracks, crazy boats. It's a ridiculously cool game with amazing stunts and some of the weirdest shortcuts in racing game history.
That was one of the cool things.
It really was. Nothing made me feel better. I was having a bad day. I'd play, Hydro Thunder. Nothing made me feel better than hearing that one guy that was way too excited about boat racing.
Take 12.
12? That's pretty generous.
Not a generous guy.
Thanks. This one guy who's way too excited about boat racing go, "You found a secret!" And I'm like, okay, calm down.
They're over the top, but they're fun.
Whoa! But,
fun fact, I don't know if you knew this, but I picked up that very game for the Dreamcast at launch.
Oh, really?
Hydro Thunder!
Oh, yeah.
And I love the freaking game.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of bummed to find out that on this truly next-gen system, 2-player, N64 was the only version of the game that had a 4-player mode.
Yes, that is true.
So that kind of like...
Well, not quite true. There is a version of it for the PlayStation 2, which is part of a Midway Arcade treasure.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a complication. I'm talking about standalone.
But still.
Yeah, but still.
That's actually, fun fact, that's actually the first time I played it was on that Midway Arcade treasure.
Oh, okay.
And my dad had some PS2, and then I later got it for the 64. But, any game where you can race as the Titanic through an airplane graveyard, you can count me in. The physics are a little floaty.
You're funny, Sean! I love this guy.
I paid him to laugh.
Yeah, he did. Not much. But...
It's okay. Go back to your cell now.
So, what number are we on now?
You're on 5.
I'm on 5. Number 5.
Number 5.
So number 5 for me. And this one is kind of polarizing because you have your Mario Kart people, you have your Diddy Kong Racing people. So for the N64 era, I think that hands down the best kart racing game was Diddy Kong Racing. For a whole lot of reasons. The variety of vehicles, the fact that there was this overworld hub that was a lot of fun just to play around in and navigate. Mm-hmm. Even though the story itself was about as weak as Banjo-Kazooie's, no big deal, who cares, because it was charming, it was fun, and you also had these story-driven kind of mission, you have the adventure mode. So, collectively, as a game, it controlled well, too.
Oh, yeah.
Collectively, as a game, getting to play bouncing in the inner tube thingies, what were they, the hovercraft? The hovercraft, the planes, the cars, all of it, all together, with all the lovely characters, the overworld hub, and the fact that there was the adventure mode, that to me elevated it past Donkey Kong and Mario Kart and the N64.
I mean, I have to admit that I will always be partial to the Nintendo 64, but that's because that was like my first video game was Mario Kart 64, and I played the crud out of it.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed Diddy Kong. I played it I played it for the DS when they re-released it for the DS.
Now that was a pale shadow of the former one, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it was still enjoyable. So, number 4.
Number 4.
Burnout Paradise! Hey, we mentioned that earlier.
Boom.
Check that out. Burnout Paradise is so much fun. The DLC is insane. The races are crazy cool. I will always enjoy Burnout Paradise no matter how old I get or just whatever happens. Burnout Paradise is just fantastic.
I need to pick up the remastered.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I played it at a friend's house. I have the Ultimate Box on Steam, which if you know about that, you can't buy the DLC anymore. And,
really? Wow.
They shut down the store the day I had the money for the DLC, which is kind of annoying.
See, someday we'll have to talk about the physical versus digital, because that's why I wherever possible do physical, except for indie games, because a lot of times.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
But yeah, so it feels strange having just yelled at other racing games for having like no it feels strange. But this game is so cool because you crash and you just respawn and keep going. I mean, one of the goals of one of the races is to literally wreck as many cars as you can. It is that much fun. It's just this game feels good, plays great, lets you just have fun. You can put your cars through hell, slam them into walls, and the game acts like a parent, turning you around, handing you the keys, saying, "Go get him, champ!" And you proceed to do exactly what you just did, and then start the process all over again.
Yeah, it also has some limited customization features. It has, with the cars, and you can swap cars during the racing, and whenever you find one, and then collect them as you go, which is kind of nice for completionists.
The game answers one of my favorite questions too, like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do this? Oh, I die. Okay, that makes sense. But just whether you're going around the city doing the races, running from the other car, smashing fences or billboards, this game will entertain you for... I think it came out... Yes, ever. I think it came out like 7 years ago and I'm still playing it.
No, it's a wonderful game, and just being able to pull up at any street corner like freaking American Graffiti style and start a freaking drag race is amazing.
Yeah.
Or some sort of other challenge. So, Alright, so coming in at number 3 on the countdown. That would be the Mario Kart series. So I just talked about Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart on the 64, Diddy Kong coming in first, but I could not pick a favorite flavor for... I could talk about specific features, I could talk about the DLC on the Wii U, I could talk about the complete package on the Switch, but at the end of the day, the entirety of the body of work is more important and more genre-defining than any individual game in the series. So, for my number 3, or for our number 3, for the number 3, is the entirety of the Mario Kart series. They've given me hours of fun from dusk to daylight, literally like playing games with my friends, and suddenly I hear birds and crap, and the sun's kind of coming into the shades.
Yeah.
So the Mario Kart series.
I've always enjoyed Mario Kart 2. Like I said, the first game I had was Mario Kart 64. One of the first 3DS games I got was 7. I love Mario Kart myself. So coming in at... Oh wait, no, we got to do our honorable mentions first.
Okay, go ahead.
Honorable mentions.
Horrible.
Almost forgot.
Horrible. Honorable.
I only have one, which is Stuntman Ignition. And the reason I didn't put it on the list is because it is not inherently a racing game. But the reason I put it in the honorable mentions is there are a few racing missions. But Stuntman Ignition, if it were inherently a racing game, it would be number 1 on my list, easily. It's just such a fun game doing the stunt driving for various movies. I don't know if you've ever played it. Oh, it is so much fun. Just drifting around a corner and, hearing the little, "Hey, he did it!" It's a very instant reward sort of thing.
Nice.
It's just, you're a stunt driver for a movie, so you have to hit the marks. And it's such a fun game, and I played it first on the PlayStation 3, got my own copy of it for the PlayStation 2. I love that game.
I mean, I have heard of it, I just haven't played it.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance,
There's so many games. So I actually have a bunch, and I'll go through them really quickly. First off, F-Zero series, the entirety of the series. It created an entire genre of games. Mario Kart kind of mostly did, but there's some people debate that. But you cannot debate the fact that F-Zero created a genre, which was picked up by a series like Wipeout and others. So that's why it definitely gets an honorable mention. Here's one for the Dreamcast that you probably haven't heard of. Demolition Racer No Exit. Holy crap, what a fun game. And the reason it's honorable mention is that it's not strictly racing. It has so many twists and turns. There are power-ups, there are things that damage you as you go along the way. But the biggest thing is you try to destroy each other. And it's this balance of how much damage you cause and where you place in the race that calculates to whether or not you win. So that's why I say it's not exactly a racing game. Because you could come in first and still come in 10th.
Yeah.
If you haven't been untouched and haven't hurt anybody. There's also a full-on demolition mode in like a bowl where you smash each other, so that's fun too. But yeah, Demolition Racer. San Francisco Rush 2049.
Yes.
Holy crap! Definitive version, Dreamcast. Not only was it the prettiest and played the best, had 4-player, but the battle mode was absolutely stellar on the Dreamcast. Flawless gameplay. So you check that out. That's also unbelievably still cheap. And last but certainly not least...
Actually, I own the more expensive version of that game for the 64.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, they pick up the Dreamcast version.
I gotta have to pick up a Dreamcast first.
Do that. Beetle Adventure Racing is my last one. And I don't know if you... And I mentioned that on our worst games list. Wasn't it our worst games list?
Yes.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Because it is branded by a major auto manufacturer, which is probably why you'll never see it, unfortunately, released or remastered because of the licensing.
Yeah.
But you drove Beetles, like the new Beetle at the time. And it was so much fun. 4-player mayhem. It had a battle mode as well that was amazing, but it followed in the footsteps of like San Francisco Rush in that it had really cool shortcuts. Like on the winter level, if you climb up the hill, you go through the ski chalet onto the ski ramp, then you can go down the ski ramp, right?
Yeah.
With the ski, and then you jump across, and then you're suddenly in a cave, and in the cave, embedded in the ice, there's an alien, and you can go up top or you go down on the bottom. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Again, power-ups to collect, and cars to unlock, but Beetle Adventure Racing, make sure to play it with the expansion pack. It's a lot better.
One more honorable mention for me. It's not even on my list here. One more honorable mention for me, though, is the Speed Racer movie game. It's actually a game that I've been thinking about the entire time we've been shooting today. I grew up watching Speed Racer. There's a Comic-Con video coming out next month where we went to Comic-Con, and the Mach 5 was there, which was a great moment for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get my picture in it, sadly.
Up
Me too! But when the movie came out, it was a great time for me. I loved that movie so much.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was such a good movie. I'm so sad that it was what, the Worcestershire Sauce Brothers?
These guys.
Yeah.
Adventure guys.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's just, Speed Racer video game is just a lot of fun. The only reason it's not on the list is it was like my number 6. You know, it was just one of those games. The only thing I think that would push it above and beyond is both versions that I owned, which is for the Wii and for the DS. Neither of them had the Mach 5. You could only drive the Mach 6.
Wow.
And that bugged me. But it was still a really fun game with really, really fun mechanics. The car foo was hilarious.
Well, yeah, and I gotta tell you, I have played that game. I don't own it, but I've played it, and it was like a guilty pleasure. I was like, I can't believe I'm enjoying this.
I know.
It snuck up on me. I'm like, this is actually fun.
And the music
it wouldn't win any awards, but yeah, the music was great. And it was one of the more successful movie tie-ins.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So, do you want to do your number 2? You want to take the number 2?
Okay. Do I have it? Yeah, number 2. Okay, so this is my number 1, our number 2, and this I tried to figure out whether this was nostalgia or not, but honest freaking goodness, Sega Rally Championship on the Sega Saturn plays like no other racing game. It just has this, it feels just like the arcade. It has all this drifty goodness. It's not true rally racing, but it captures the spirit of rally racing, and it didn't have a lot of tracks, but what was there was amazing. It didn't have a lot of cars, but what was there was amazing. And for as little content it has, I probably played it more hours than some of the games that had, you know, incredible amounts of content. So if you can find a Sega Saturn, or even do yourself a favor, even do it in the arcade. If you can play Sega Rally Championship in the arcade, that's good too. But try to find the Saturn version and play with the 3D controller too that came out for NICE, because it actually is supported. So good.
Alright, and the last one. Number 1! It's Need for Speed.
Number 1.
And I have 2, but I kind of wrote them into the same one because they're the only one in the series aside from Underground that is in a series, and that is Need for Speed Most Wanted and Need for Speed Carbon. And I'm not talking the 2012 Most Wanted, I'm talking the 2005 Most Wanted. These two have been my favorite racing games since the first day I played them. I count them as one because, one mentions the other, one has characters in both games, and, they're, yeah. The games are great with fantastic cars, amazing customization options, and acting just bad enough to be cheesy, but still good enough to be entertaining. Both games have tight controls, great physics, and good consequences. There are way too many racing games where you just get arrested. When you get arrested, you just get a slap on the wrist and they send you back on your merry way. These ones are some of the few racing games where I avoid the police at all costs. In most, if I even get a blip on my radar, I immediately jump back to the safe house in the pause menu because I don't even want to deal with the police. Because if you get arrested like 3 or 4 times, then your car's gone. They take that car from you.
That's fair.
Which is a really cool system, and you can't restart and try again. You get a strike on that car. These games will always be my favorite games because the acting, just everything about them were so good. I will always enjoy these games. It makes me sad that you guys could not see the Driver San Francisco Part 2 video because I mentioned Need for Speed Carbon multiple times in that, and one of the characters specifically named Darius. I'll put the picture I found on the
Darius
internet.
Gaiden? No, that's an awesome shit. It's a shmup. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's alright. But yeah, no, honestly, these games are just so good and I cannot gush about them enough. Because of these games, my dream car is like a BMW M3. Because the BMW M3 GTR that is like the major car for both of these games.
I had a BMW 318. That's
No. No offense.
I'm taking.
But yeah, no, so I love these games so much and I cannot gush about them. I might even review the both of them later on in the channel. Okay. So anyway, that's all we have for this video.
It is.
If you guys liked it, go ahead, click that favorite button, that subscribe button, that like button. The dislike button is only for YouTube Rewind 2018. I already used this joke, but too bad.
The video he did. It happened twice now.
Yes. Now, if you guys like this video, go check out part 1, which is the
most god-awful freaking racing games that we could think of.
Yeah. Link to his channel and a separate link to that video in the description below.
Geeks by the Creek, like and subscribe.
Yeah. Geeks by the Creek. And subscribe to it's too much energy. I can't stand it.
Smash that subscribe button.
Anyway. So, thank you guys.
Bad case of YouTuberitis.
Thank you guys so much, and I will see you.
It's been fun.
Do you know how we sign off in my videos?
I don't.
It's just this.
Just this?
So we'll see you guys in the next one. What was that?
That was my elbow.
Oh.
I'm old.